Commander Zixtal stood on the bridge of his ship, the Stellar Harmony. His blue skin glowed softly in the dim light. He was excited. Today would be special. Today, his crew would meet a new species for the first time. The ship moved slowly toward the third planet in this star system. The aliens called it many names, but the most common one was Earth. Zixtal's long fingers touched the control panel. His species, the Velonians, were known across the galaxy for being peaceful. They had helped many worlds join the Galactic Council. "Commander," said his science officer, Kriana. Her voice was soft and musical. "We are getting strange readings." From this planet, Zixtal walked over to look at the screen. What he saw made him worried. The planet was covered in water and land. Storms raged across its surface. Lightning flashed in the dark clouds. The oceans looked angry and wild. "This cannot be right," Zixtal said. No intelligent life could survive on such a violent world, but the readings were clear. There were cities on the planet. There were ships moving in space around it. Someone lived here, and they had learned to travel between the stars. Far below on Earth, Captain Jake Morrison was having a normal day. He commanded the deep space ship New Horizon. His crew was on a routine mission near Jupiter when something appeared on their screens. "Captain," called out his communications officer, Ben Carter. "There's a ship out there." "It's not like anything I've ever seen." Jake looked at the main screen. The alien ship was beautiful. It looked like it was grown rather than built. Its surface was smooth and curved, but something was wrong. The ship was spinning slowly and moving in the wrong direction. "It looks like they're in trouble," Jake said. "Ben, try to contact them." Ben worked at his controls. "No response, sir. But I'm picking up what might be a distress signal." Jake made his decision quickly. "All right, people. We're going to help." Lisa, get your medical team ready. We might have injured aliens over there." Dr. Lisa Warren nodded. She was the ship's doctor and scientist. She had always dreamed of meeting aliens. Now her dream was about to come true. The New Horizon moved closer to the alien ship. Jake could see that the beautiful vessel was damaged. Parts of its hull were dark. There were no lights in some sections. "Bring us alongside," Jake ordered. "Prepare the docking tube." What Jake and his crew did not know was that their ship's engines were causing problems. Human fusion engines were crude but powerful. They sent out radiation and electromagnetic pulses. To the delicate alien ship, it was like being hit by lightning over and over. On the Stellar Harmony, alarms were ringing. Kriana was panic-stricken. "Commander, their engines are destroying our bioneural systems. We need to get away from them." But Zixtal was frozen with fear. He had just learned something terrible about the creatures on the planet below. His computer had finished scanning their world. The results were horrifying. "Kriana," he whispered, "this is a Class 12 death world." Class 12 was the highest danger rating in the galactic system. It meant a world where everything tried to kill everything else. It meant constant disasters, deadly weather, and creatures that survived by eating other creatures. "That cannot be right," Kriana said. "Nothing intelligent comes from death worlds." "Look at the scan results," Zixtal said. Kriana looked and nearly fainted. The planet below was a nightmare. There were storms that could destroy cities. The ground itself moved and shook. The oceans were filled with creatures that ate each other. Volcanoes spewed poison into the air. Ice covered parts of the world in layers miles thick, and somehow, impossibly, the dominant species had survived all of this. They had not just survived. They had become the masters of their terrible world. "They are predators," Kriana whispered. "Look at their teeth. Look at their eyes. They face forward like hunters." Meanwhile, Jake Morrison and his crew were getting ready to board the alien ship. They put on their environmental suits. The suits were thick and protective. They carried tools and medical supplies. To them, this was a rescue mission. To the terrified aliens watching them approach, it looked like an invasion. Dr. Lisa Warren carried her medical bag as she walked through the docking tube. Behind her came Ben Carter and two other crew members. They moved confidently, the way humans always moved. They were not afraid. This confidence terrified the aliens even more. On every civilized world in the galaxy, intelligent beings were careful. They moved slowly. They avoided danger. But these creatures walked into an unknown alien ship like they owned it. The humans entered the alien ship through an airlock. The inside was unlike anything they had ever seen. The walls seemed alive. Soft light came from everywhere and nowhere. The air smelled like flowers. "Hello?" Lisa called out. "We're here to help. Are you injured?" Her voice echoed through the ship. Somewhere in the distance, they heard a sound like crying. Ben Carter stepped forward, but his heavy boot landed on something delicate. There was a soft crack. He looked down and saw that he had broken a small crystal sculpture. It had been sitting on what looked like a table. "Oops," Ben said. "Sorry about that." He did not know that the crystal was a precious artifact. It was over 1,000 years old, and he had just crushed it like it was nothing. To the watching aliens, this was proof of human destructive power. These creatures were so strong that they broke things just by walking around. Zixta watched from his hiding place behind a door. The humans looked exactly like the nightmares his people told their children. They were tall and muscular. Their eyes looked forward like the eyes of hunters. Their hands ended in blunt fingers that could clearly crush and tear. When Dr. Lisa Warren smiled, showing her white teeth, Zixtal nearly screamed. Those teeth were designed for tearing meat. This creature was a killer, and it was smiling at him. "Please," Zixtal whispered in his own language. "We mean no harm." Lisa heard the voice and turned toward the sound. "It's okay," she said gently. "We're friends. We want to help you." But her gentle words had the opposite effect. The alien language computer on the Stellar Harmony translated her message. When Zixtal heard that these predators wanted to help him, he knew what that meant. In nature, predators always help themselves to prey. The first contact between humans and the galaxy was going very, very wrong, and none of the humans understood why. 3 days later, Zixtal sat in the emergency meeting room on Council Station Alpha. His hands were shaking. Around the curved table sat representatives from 12 different species. They had all come to hear his report about the humans. "Tell us again about their world," said Ambassador Threxme of the Crystalline Hive. Her voice sounded like wind chimes. "You said it was Class 12? Zixtal nodded. "The scans don't lie. Their planet should be empty. Nothing should live there. But somehow, these humans not only survived, they became the dominant species." Elder Quantum 7 of the Silicon Collective made a sound like grinding metal. "Impossible. Our models show that intelligent life cannot evolve on Deathworlds. The stress is too great." "That's what we all thought," Zixtal said, "but we were wrong." He activated the holographic display. The image of Earth appeared in the center of the table. Several representatives moved back in fear. "Look at this world," Zixtal said. 70% is covered by violent oceans. The land masses move and crash into each other. The weather systems are so powerful they can destroy entire cities. The image changed to show a human city. Tall buildings reached toward the sky. Millions of humans move through the streets like ants. And yet they build their homes right on top of the dangerous areas, Zixtal continued. They put their cities where the ground shakes. They live next to mountains that explode with fire and poison. They act like danger is normal. Ambassador Veltar of the Peace Gardens spoke up. Her people were small and flower-like. "Perhaps they don't understand the dangers?" Zixtal shook his head. "No, they understand perfectly. They have words for all these disasters. Earthquakes, hurricanes, volcanoes, tsunamis, they know these things can kill them. But they just accept it." The room fell silent. This was beyond the understanding of every species present. Civilized beings avoided danger. They built their homes in safe places. They planned carefully to prevent disasters. "There's more," Zixtal said quietly. "I've been studying their history files. These humans have survived 5 major extinction events. 5 times, their world tried to kill everything on it. And 5 times, life found a way to continue." He changed the display to show human history. Images of wars, disasters, and struggles filled the air. They don't just survive disasters, Zixtel said. They compete with each other constantly. They fight wars. They test themselves against nature for fun. They climb their highest mountains just to see if they can. They jump from flying vehicles with only a piece of cloth to slow their fall. Several representatives made sounds of horror. And their bodies, Zixtel continued. They're built for violence, dense bones, powerful muscles. They can run for incredible distances. They can survive without food for weeks. They can heal from injuries that would kill most of us. Elder Quantum 7 spoke up. What about their technology? Surely it's primitive? Zixtel's expression grew even more worried. That's the worst part. Their technology is crude but incredibly effective. They split atoms to make energy. They've changed their own genetic code. They've sent machines to every planet in their system. How long have they had spaceflight? Asked Ambassador Threxme. Less than 100 years, Zixtel replied. The room erupted in shocked voices. Most species took thousands of years to develop space travel. The humans had done it in the time it took most civilizations to perfect farming. They must be stopped, declared Elder Quantum 7. A species like this will spread across the galaxy like a plague. Wait, said a new voice. Ambassador Calith of the Aquatic Collective had been quiet until now. Maybe we should try to understand them better. Send a diplomatic mission. Zixtel looked at him with pity. It's too late for that. They're already coming. The display changed to show the outer edges of Council space. A single human ship was approaching Council Station Alpha. The ship is called the Diplomatic One, Zixtel said. It carries their first official ambassador to our council. Admiral Corex of the Blade Fleet stood up. His species looked like walking weapons. How many ships escort it? None, Zixtel said. It travels alone. A single ship? Admiral Corex sounded confused. That makes no sense. No species sends an unprotected ambassador. Unless, whispered Ambassador Veltar, they don't think they need protection. The room fell silent again. The idea was terrifying. Either the humans were incredibly stupid or they were so confident in their abilities that they didn't fear. Anything the galaxy could do to them? When will they arrive? Asked Elder Quantum 7. Tomorrow, Zixtel replied, the next day. Ambassador Ryan Davis stood in the docking bay of Council Station Alpha. He was excited. This was the moment humanity had dreamed of for decades. First contact with an entire galaxy of intelligent species. Ryan was a tall man with gray hair and kind eyes. He had spent his entire career preparing for this moment. He spoke 7 Earth languages and had studied every piece of alien culture. They had learned from Zixtel's ship. Behind him walked his small team. Dr. Alex Turner was their scientist. Maya Johnson was their security chief, though she carried no weapons. The aliens had requested that no weapons be brought to the station. Remember, Ryan said to his team, we're here to make friends. These people have been peaceful for thousands of years. Let's show them that humans can be peaceful. 2. They walked through the airlock into the station proper. The hallway was beautiful. The walls were covered in art from dozens of different worlds. Soft music played from hidden speakers. Wow, said Dr. Turner. This place is amazing. They followed signs toward the diplomatic wing. As they walked, they passed aliens going about their daily business. Ryan smiled and nodded at each one. The aliens saw him coming and fled. That's odd, Maya said. Why are they running? Maybe they're shy, Ryan replied. We are the new guys. What Ryan didn't understand was that news of humanity had spread through the station like wildfire. Every alien on the station knew that the terrifying Deathworlders had arrived. They reached the diplomatic reception area. A small, flower-like being was waiting for them. This was Ambassador Veltar. Welcome, she said in careful English. I am Ambassador Veltar. I will ... escort you to the meeting room. Ryan stepped forward with his hand extended. It's a pleasure to meet you, Ambassador. I'm Ryan Davis. Veltar looked at his outstretched hand with terror. She had read about human greeting rituals. This gesture involved physical contact. The human wanted to touch her with his powerful predator hands. I cannot, she whispered. Ryan lowered his hand, confused. Oh, different customs, I understand. But Veltar heard something else in his words. When he said, I understand, her translator interpreted it as, I understand your weakness. This predator was telling her that he knew she was helpless. As they walked toward the meeting room, Dr. Turner tried to make conversation. Your station is incredible. The engineering must be fascinating. How do you maintain artificial gravity without rotation? To Dr. Turner, this was a friendly, scientific question. To Veltar, it sounded like a military assessment. The predator was studying their defenses. I am not an engineer, Veltar stammered. Oh, that's okay, Dr. Turner said with a smile. I'm just curious about everything. Back on Earth, we love to learn how things work. If something breaks, we take it apart and figure out how to fix it. Veltar nearly fainted. The human had just told her that his species enjoyed destroying things to see how they worked. They entered the main meeting room. Around the table sat representatives from every major species in the council. Ryan looked around with wonder. This is incredible, he said. So many different forms of life. We have so much to learn from each other. But when the aliens heard learn from each other, they thought he meant learn each other's weaknesses. Ryan took his seat at the table. Maya stood behind him, as was human diplomatic custom. But to the aliens, she looked like a bodyguard. The humans had brought a warrior to a peace meeting. Thank you all for meeting with us, Ryan began. Humanity is eager to join the galactic community. We hope to share our knowledge and learn from your wisdom. Elder Quantum 7 spoke first. Tell us about your world, Ambassador Davis. Ryan smiled proudly. Earth is a beautiful, dynamic planet. We have vast oceans, high mountains, and diverse ecosystems. The weather can be challenging, but it keeps life interesting. Challenging how? Asked Ambassador Threxme. Well, we get storms sometimes, hurricanes, tornadoes, blizzards, and we have earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. But humans are pretty adaptable. We've learned to live with these things. The aliens exchanged horrified glances. This creature was describing planetary disasters like they were minor inconveniences. What about your people? Asked Veltar. How do you resolve conflicts? Ryan thought for a moment. Well, we've had our share of disagreements over the years. Wars, unfortunately, but we've learned from our mistakes. These days, we prefer to talk things out, though sometimes you have to be firm to get people to listen. The aliens heard something completely different. This predator had just admitted that his species solved problems through violence. And when he said, be firm, they thought he meant use force. Dr. Turner leaned forward excitedly. We're particularly interested in your biotechnology. On Earth, we've learned to modify our food crops, cure genetic diseases, and even enhance human abilities. We'd love to share our techniques. The room fell silent. The humans had just offered to Shaw. Captain Nicole Brooks stood on the bridge of the Liberty Bell, watching the stars go by. Her ship was on a routine patrol near the Proxima Centauri trade routes. It was supposed to be a peaceful mission. Humanity was trying to show the galaxy that they could be trusted. Captain, called her navigation officer, Danny Walsh, we're getting a distress call from a freight ship. It's about 2 hours away. Nicole didn't hesitate. Change course. Let's go help them. What Nicole didn't know was that 3 alien patrol. Ships were watching her from a distance. When they saw the human warship change direction toward the helpless freighter, they panicked. The Predators are attacking, shouted Captain Velcon of the aquatic collective patrol ship Peaceful Current. All ships prepare for battle. On the bridge of the Liberty Bell, Nicole's communications officer looked confused. Captain, I'm picking up alien military chatter. They sound ... upset. Try to contact them, Nicole ordered. Let them know we're responding to a distress call. Meanwhile, on the damaged freighter Gentle Tide, Captain Morden was trying to keep his ship from falling apart. His cargo hold was full of medical supplies bound for a colony world. If his ship was destroyed, Thousands of people would die. Engineering, what's our status? Morden called out. His chief engineer, Colin, sounded desperate. The fusion core is unstable, Captain. We need replacement parts that we don't have. We're going to lose power completely in 4 hours. That's when the Liberty Bell arrived. The human ship was 3 times larger than any of the alien vessels. Its hull was thick and angular, built for war. To the watching aliens, it looked like a predator approaching wounded prey. Nicole opened the communication channel. This is Captain Brooks of the Earthship Liberty Bell. We received your distress call. How can we help? Morden was terrified, but his people were dying. We need parts for our fusion core, but I don't think you have compatible technology. Danny Walsh had been listening to the technical readouts. Captain, their problem is simple. Their fusion core is just a basic matter-antimatter reactor. I can fix that. Nicole nodded. Freighter Gentle Tide, we're sending over an engineering team. Wait, Morden said. You're going to board our ship? Just our engineers, Nicole replied. They'll bring tools and replacement parts. To the aliens, this sounded like an invasion. The Predators were going to take control of the helpless ship. Danny Walsh and his team suited up and took a shuttle over to the alien freighter. When they docked, Morden was waiting for them with his entire crew. They all looked terrified. Hello, Danny said cheerfully. I'm Danny Walsh. Don't worry, we'll have you fixed up in no time. He walked into the ship carrying a large toolbox. Behind him came 3 more humans with equipment. They moved with the confident stride that all humans used. They weren't afraid of anything. Danny looked at the damaged fusion core and whistled. Wow, this is really broken. How are you even still alive? To Danny, this was just a statement of fact. To the aliens, it sounded like a threat. The Predator was telling them how close they were to death. Can you really fix it? Asked Colin. Sure, Danny said. Your people make things too complicated. Watch this. He pulled out a human tool that looked like a metal stick with wires attached. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Danny stuck it into the alien machinery and started making adjustments. What is that device? Morden asked nervously. It's just a plasma welder, Danny replied. We use them to fix just about everything. What Danny didn't explain was that the plasma welder could cut through solid steel. To the aliens, he had just admitted to carrying a weapon that could slice their ship apart. Danny worked for 2 hours, humming to himself. He rerouted power cables, replaced burnt circuits, and rebuilt entire sections of the alien machinery. He used human tools and human techniques that were completely different from alien technology. There, he said finally. Try it now. Colin nervously activated the fusion core. It hummed to life, running better than it had in months. How did you do that? Colin asked in amazement. Danny shrugged. We humans learn to fix things when we're kids. If something breaks, you figure out how to make it work again. That's just life. But the aliens heard something different. They heard that humans were raised from childhood to understand how to break and rebuild technology. This meant humans could destroy any alien ship just by understanding how it worked. Is there anything else you need? Danny asked. Morden shook his head quickly. No, thank you. You've done enough. Danny and his team returned to the Liberty Bell. As they left, Nicole contacted the alien captain one more time. Is everything working? Okay now? She asked. Yes, Morden replied. Thank you for your help. No problem, Nicole said. That's what friends do for each other. Safe travels. But when the alien translator processed her words, that's what friends do came out as, that's what allies do for servants. The aliens thought the humans were claiming ownership of them. Meanwhile, on Council Station Alpha, Dr. Amanda Foster was trying to improve human-alien relations through cultural exchange. She had prepared a presentation about human art and literature. The meeting room was half empty. Many species had refused to attend. Those who came sat as far from Amanda as possible. Thank you all for coming, Amanda began. I'd like to share some examples of human creativity with you. She activated a holographic display showing famous human paintings. The first image was of a stormy sea with a small boat fighting against huge waves. "This painting is called The Great Wave," Amanda explained. "It shows the beauty and power of nature." The aliens saw something completely different. They saw humans creating art about surviving deadly disasters. This was proof that humans found violence and danger beautiful. The next image showed a sculpture of a human figure with perfect muscles. "This is David," Amanda said. "It represents human potential and strength." The aliens saw a statue celebrating the physical power of predators. Humans made art about how strong and dangerous they were. Amanda continued with examples of human literature. "One of our most beloved stories is about a man who gets trapped on a desert island. He has to survive using only his intelligence and determination." She was talking about Robinson Crusoe, but the aliens were horrified. Humans told stories about surviving alone in deadly situations, and they considered these stories entertaining. "Another popular story," Amanda continued, "is about a group of people who get lost in space. Their ship is damaged, and they have to work together to survive." The aliens looked at each other in fear. Human entertainment was about death, survival, and overcoming impossible odds. "Do you have any questions about human culture?" Amanda asked. Ambassador Veltar raised one delicate hand. "Do humans enjoy these stories about survival?" "Oh yes," Amanda replied enthusiastically. "We love stories about people overcoming challenges. The bigger the challenge, the better the story." The aliens were silent. "These predators actually enjoyed thinking about deadly situations," Ambassador Threxme spoke up. "What about peaceful stories? Do humans create art about harmony and cooperation?" Amanda thought for a moment. "Well, we have some stories like that. But usually there's some kind of conflict that needs to be resolved. Even our love stories often involve people fighting for each other." The aliens heard that human concepts of love and cooperation involved violence. "Thank you for your time," Amanda said as the presentation ended. "I hope this helps you understand humanity better." As the aliens filed out of the room, they understood humanity better than Amanda had intended. They understood that humans were a species that celebrated violence, found danger entertaining, and considered survival stories to be uplifting rather than terrifying. In another part of the galaxy, Commander Steve Martinez was leading a joint scientific expedition with alien researchers. The mission was to study a dangerous pulsar that was affecting nearby star systems. The alien scientists stayed in their ships, far from the dangerous radiation. They used long-range sensors and computer models to study the pulsar from a safe distance. Steve and his human team did something completely different. "We need to get closer," Steve announced. "Our instruments aren't picking up enough detail from." Here, Dr. Elena Vasquez, the mission's physicist, nodded. "I agree. We should take the shuttle in for direct readings." The alien scientists were shocked. "Commander Martinez," called Professor Zentel over the communication system, "the radiation levels near the pulsar are lethal." "Don't worry," Steve replied. "We've got good shielding, and exposure time will be minimal. We'll be fine." But the aliens calculated the radiation levels. Even with the best human technology, the mission was incredibly dangerous. There was a real chance that the humans would die. "Please reconsider," Professor Zentel begged. "The risk is too great." Steve sounded confused. "Risk? This is pretty standard for us. We do surveys like this all the time." The humans climbed into their shuttle and flew toward the pulsar. The aliens watched in horror as the small ship disappeared into the deadly radiation field. For 2 hours, the human shuttle collected data from inside the danger zone. The aliens were certain that the humans were dead. No living being could survive in such conditions. Then the shuttle emerged from the radiation field and returned to the main ship. "Got everything we need," Steve reported cheerfully. "The data is fantastic. Thanks for letting us take." The great assembly hall of Council Station Alpha had never seen anything like it. Representatives from over 300 species filled every seat. Emergency delegates had arrived from the furthest corners of the galaxy. They had all come for one purpose: to decide what to do about humanity. Elder Quantum 7 stood at the central podium. His metallic voice echoed through the vast chamber. "Fellow beings of the galaxy," he began, "we face the greatest threat our civilization has ever known." A holographic display showed the Sol system, with Earth glowing ominously at its center. "For 10,000 years we have lived in peace," Elder Quantum 7 continued. "No species has threatened another. No world has sought to conquer its neighbors. We have built a society based on cooperation and understanding." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. But now a new species has emerged from the darkest corner of space, a species born from violence and chaos. A species that sees danger as entertainment and conflict as natural. The display changed to show images of humans. To the assembled aliens, they looked like walking nightmares. Tall, muscular, with forward-facing predator eyes and teeth designed for tearing meat. "They call themselves humans," Elder Quantum 7 said. "And they come from a world that should have killed them long ago." Ambassador Veltar stood up from her seat. "Elder Quantum 7, perhaps we should try to understand them better. They have shown no actual aggression toward us." A wave of angry sounds swept through the assembly. Many species disagreed with Veltar's gentle approach. Admiral Corex rose to his full height. "No aggression? They board our ships without permission? They carry weapons disguised as tools. They study our technology and learn our weaknesses." "That's not what they intended," Veltar protested. "It doesn't matter what they intended," snapped Ambassador Threxme. "What matters is what they accomplished. Every human we've encountered has demonstrated their species' dangerous capabilities." Elder Quantum 7 raised his hand for silence. "The Council has reviewed all reports from human encounters. The evidence is clear. These beings are apex predators who have achieved space travel. They are exactly what our oldest warnings told us to fear." The display showed a map of local space, with human territory marked in red. "Already, they are spreading beyond their home system," Elder Quantum 7 announced. "Human ships have been detected in 17 different sectors. They claim to be exploring, but we know better. They are scouting for new territory to claim." This was partially true. Earth had indeed sent exploration ships to nearby star systems. But the humans were looking for habitable worlds and scientific discoveries, not conquest. "What do you propose we do?" asked Ambassador Catherine of the Spiral Arm Coalition. "We must establish a quarantine zone around human space," Elder Quantum 7 declared. "No human ship will be allowed to leave their territory. No alien ship will be allowed to enter." "And if they refuse to accept this quarantine?" asked Admiral Corex. Elder Quantum 7's expression grew grim. "Then we will enforce it." Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, humanity was completely unaware of the debate about their fate. Admiral Tony Richardson commanded Earth's largest exploration fleet from his flagship, the Enterprise. His mission was to establish peaceful contact with more alien civilizations. "Admiral," called his communications officer, Lieutenant Sarah White, "we're receiving a transmission from the Zephyrian Empire." "They want to talk," Tony smiled. "Excellent, put them through." The main screen flickered to life, showing a group of tall, thin aliens with blue-green skin. Their leader spoke and accented. "English, I am Fleet Commander Zethkel of the Zephyrian Empire," the alien said. "You will stop your advance immediately." Tony looked confused. "I'm sorry, Commander, what advance?" "We're on a peaceful exploration mission." "Do not lie to us, human," Zethkel replied coldly. "We know what you are. We know why you are here." "I think there's been a misunderstanding," Tony said. "We're just trying to make contact with new civilizations. We come in peace." Zethkel made a sound that might have been laughter. "Peace? Your entire species is built for war. Your ships are weapons. Your people are predators." Tony was genuinely puzzled. "Commander, I think someone has given you wrong information about us. Humans are capable of violence, yes, but we prefer peaceful solutions." "Then why do all your ships carry weapons?" Zethkel demanded. Tony paused. It was true that human ships carried defensive systems. "Well, space can be dangerous," We need to protect ourselves from asteroids, radiation, hostile environments, and other species, Zethkal finished. Only if they attack us first, Tony said. We would never start a fight. But Zethkal heard something different. He heard a predator explaining that it would kill anyone who threatened it. This was exactly what the Council had warned about. By order of the Galactic Council, Zethkal announced, human ships are forbidden from leaving your territory. Return to your world immediately. Tony's expression hardened. Commander, with respect, you have no authority over human ships. We have the right to explore space freely. Not anymore, Zethkal said. The quarantine is now in effect. Several Zephyrian warships moved to block the human fleet's path. They were smaller than the human ships, but they outnumbered them 3-1. Tony studied the tactical display. His ships could probably fight through the blockade, but that would mean starting a war. Commander, I don't want to fight you, but I also can't let you dictate where human ships can travel. Then you leave us no choice, Zethkal replied. The Zephyrian ships powered up their weapons. Tony's tactical officer, Major Kate Sullivan, looked at him expectantly. Admiral, she said quietly, they're targeting our engines. If we lose propulsion, we'll be sitting ducks. Tony made his decision. All ships, defensive positions. Do not fire unless fired upon. The human fleet moved into a protective formation. Their shields came online and their point defense systems activated. To the watching Zephyrians, it looked like the humans were preparing for battle. See, Zethkal said to his crew. The moment we challenge them, they show their true nature. These predators are ready to fight. What Zethkal didn't understand was that humans had learned to be ready for anything. Their defensive preparations were automatic, not aggressive. The standoff continued for 6 hours. Neither side fired, but both remained ready for battle. Finally, Tony decided to try a different approach. Commander Zethkal, he called, what if we compromise? My ships will return to human space for now. But in exchange, I want to send one ambassador to speak with your council. Zethkal considered this. One ship, unarmed, and your fleet returns. Immediately. Agreed, Tony said as the human fleet turned around. Zethkal felt a moment of victory. He had faced down the terrible predators and forced them to retreat. He didn't realize that Tony's compromise was actually a strategic victory for humanity. Back on Council Station Alpha, Kate Sullivan arrived as Earth's new intelligence officer. Her mission was to find out why the aliens suddenly feared humanity. Kate was good at her job. She had worked in military intelligence for 15 years. She knew how to gather information without attracting attention. Within a week, she had discovered the truth. They're terrified of us, she reported to Earth in her encrypted message. Every interaction we've had has been misinterpreted. They think we're violent predators planning to conquer the galaxy. Kate had also discovered something much worse. Several alien governments were secretly developing weapons, designed specifically to kill humans. She had infiltrated the Crystalline Hive's research facility and found plans for sonic weapons that would shatter human bones. The Silicon Collective was working on computer viruses designed to crash human technology. The Aquatic Collective had developed biological weapons that targeted human DNA. It gets worse, Kate continued in her report. They're not just preparing to defend themselves. Some species are talking about preemptive strikes against Earth. The evidence was overwhelming. Ambassador Threxme had convinced several warlike species that humanity needed to be stopped before they became too powerful. The Blade Fleet was building new ships specifically designed to penetrate human defenses. Dr. Nathan Pierce, working with a small group of alien allies, was documenting the changes in galactic society. His research showed that the mere existence of humanity had transformed the galaxy in ways no one had expected. For the first time in galactic history, he wrote, peaceful species are militarizing. The plant gardens have started building weapons. The Harmony Singers have formed military alliances. The very concept of war was almost forgotten in this galaxy, but now everyone is preparing to fight. The few aliens who still supported peaceful contact with humanity were being silenced. Ambassador Veltar had been removed from her position. for being too sympathetic to the predator threat. Professor Zental had been banned from all research projects for collaborating with dangerous aliens. The galaxy's fear was creating exactly the kind of situation it was trying to prevent. By treating humans as enemies, the aliens were making enemies of humans. On Earth, the news of the quarantine caused outrage in the United Nations. "They want to trap us in our own solar system," declared President Maria Santos. "This is unacceptable." General Patricia Clark, head of Earth's military forces, was already making preparations. "If they want to treat us like enemies," she said, "then we need to." The first sign that something was wrong came from the outer rim of the galaxy. Long-range sensors detected massive objects moving through space at incredible speed. They were heading straight for the core worlds on Council Station Alpha. Zixtal stared at the scanner readings with growing horror. "This can't be right," he whispered. "Nothing moves that fast." Elder Quantum 7 floated over to examine the data. "What are we looking at?" "Unknown objects," Zixtal replied. "Hundreds of them. They're the size of small moons, but they're moving at near light speed." "Pirates?" Elder Quantum 7 suggested hopefully. Zixtal shook his head. "No ship in the galaxy can move this fast. And look at their trajectory. They're not heading for any specific target. They're consuming everything in their path." The first Devourer ship reached the outer colonies 3 days later. The farming world of New Haven had a population of 50 million peaceful beings. They grew food for 12 different star systems. The attack lasted 4 hours. When it was over, New Haven was gone. Not destroyed, gone, the entire planet had been consumed, converted into raw material for the Devourer fleet. The emergency broadcast reached Council Station Alpha 6 hours later. "This is Captain Mortex of the merchant vessel Lucky Star," the panicked voice said. "New Haven is gone. Something ate it, the whole planet. There's nothing left but empty space." Elder Quantum 7 immediately convened an emergency session. "We're facing an unknown enemy," he announced to the assembled representatives. "They appear to be consuming entire worlds." Admiral Korex studied the tactical reports. "These Devourers, as we're calling them, seem to be machines. Biomechanical constructs designed for one purpose, consuming matter and converting it into more ships." "How many are there?" asked Ambassador Threxme. "Our latest count shows over 3,000 individual vessels," Admiral Korex replied. "And, the number is growing. Every world they consume provides material for more ships." The room fell silent. This was beyond anything the galaxy had ever faced. "What about our defenses?" asked someone. Admiral Korex looked grim. "We sent the Third Fleet to intercept them at the Vega system. All 27 ships were destroyed in minutes. The Devourers adapted to our weapons faster than we could fire them." Elder Quantum 7 felt a cold fear growing in his chest. "How long do we have?" "At their current rate of expansion," Admiral Korex calculated, "they'll reach the core worlds in 6 months, maybe less." Meanwhile, on the edge of human space, Colonel Eric Thompson was having a very different conversation. His deep space monitoring station had detected the Devourer fleet 3 days ago. "Colonel," called his sensor operator, Sergeant Lisa Park, "the alien fleet just hit another system. That's the 7th world they've consumed this week." Eric studied the tactical display. Unlike the panicked aliens, he was analyzing the enemy's patterns and capabilities. "They're not random," he said. "Look at their attack pattern. They hit the most populated worlds first, then move to the resource-rich systems. They're maximizing their material intake." "What do you think they are?" asked his intelligence officer, Major Bob Chun. "Some kind of automated von Neumann probes," Eric replied. "Self-replicating machines designed to consume and expand. The question is, who built them and why?" "Should we warn the Galactic Council?" Sergeant Park asked. Eric considered this. The galaxy had quarantined humanity and was preparing to attack. Earth, he had no obligation to help them, but Eric was a soldier and soldiers understood duty. "Send the data to Earth Command," he decided. "Let them decide what to do." On Earth, President Maria Santos sat in the emergency meeting room with her top advisors. The report from Colonel Thompson lay open on the table before her. The galaxy is facing extinction, she said quietly. And they don't even know we're aware of it. General Patricia Clark leaned forward. We could just let them handle it themselves. After all, they want to destroy us. No, President Santos said firmly. That's not who we are. If there are innocent people dying, we help them. That's what humans do. Admiral Tony Richardson raised a concern. Madam President, if we reveal our knowledge of this threat, the aliens will wonder how we obtain such detailed intelligence. They'll realize we've been monitoring their space despite the quarantine. Let them wonder, President Santos replied. Right now, survival is more important than politics. She turned to her science advisor, Dr. Rachel Morris. What's your assessment of this threat? Dr. Morris pulled up holographic displays showing the Devourer ships. They're incredibly advanced, she said. Biomechanical hybrids that can adapt to almost any weapon. But they have weaknesses, such as? General Clark asked. They're networked, Dr. Morris explained. Each ship is connected to the others through some kind of quantum communication system. That's how they share adaptations so quickly. But it's also their weak point. You think we can disrupt their network? Admiral Richardson asked. Possibly, Dr. Morris said. But we'd need to get close to study their communication protocols. Very close. General Clark smiled grimly. Getting close to dangerous things is what humans do best. The plan came together quickly. Earth's fastest ship, the Endeavour, would attempt to intercept the Devourer fleet. Captain Luke Phillips would command the mission. This is insane, his science officer, Dr. Amy Foster, said as they prepared to launch. We're flying directly into the path of a fleet that's consumed 7 worlds. That's the idea, Luke replied. We need to get close enough to scan their technology without being detected. And if they detect us? Asked his tactical officer, Lieutenant Mike Turner. Luke grinned. Then we run very, very fast. The Endeavour launched from Earth's hidden shipyard on the far side of the moon. Using advanced stealth technology, it slipped through the quarantine zone and headed for the Devourer fleet. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council was falling apart. The Devourer fleet had consumed 12 worlds in as many days. Every weapon, every tactic, every alliance had failed. We need the humans, Ambassador Veltar said during the emergency session. She had been quietly reinstated when the crisis began. Elder Quantum 7 recoiled in horror. Never, we cannot trust the predators. Look around you, Veltar said, gesturing to the half-empty meeting hall. Half our member species have already fled to the far rim. The other half are preparing to surrender. We're losing this war. The humans will just make things worse, Admiral Corex protested. They'll probably try to conquer whatever's left after the Devourers are finished. Will they? Veltar asked. Or will they do what they've always done? Adapt, survive, and protect. What they care about. Before anyone could answer, an aide rushed into the chamber. Elder Quantum 7, he called breathlessly. We're receiving a transmission from Earth. The main display activated, showing President Maria Santos sitting at her desk. Behind her, the flag of United Earth hung on the wall. Leaders of the Galactic Council, she began. We are aware of the threat you're facing. Despite our differences, we cannot stand by while innocent beings are slaughtered. Elder Quantum 7 found his voice. How do you know about the Devourers? President Santos smiled slightly. We've been watching. The important thing is, we want to help. Why? Elder Quantum 7 asked suspiciously. We quarantined your species. We're preparing to attack you. Because helping others is what humans do, President Santos replied simply. We don't abandon people in need, even if they consider us enemies. The transmission continued with President Santos outlining Earth's plan. Human ships would engage the Devourer fleet and attempt to find their weakness. In exchange, she said, we ask only that the quarantine be lifted and that humanity be given a fair chance to prove ourselves. Elder Quantum 7 was about to refuse when Ambassador Veltar spoke up. We accept, she said firmly. You don't have? The authority, Elder Quantum 7 protested. Actually, I do, Veltar replied. According to emergency protocols, any council member can authorize military assistance during an extinction-level event. President Santos nodded. Thank you, Ambassador. Our ships are already moving to intercept the enemy. The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in chaos. Some representatives protested the decision, but most were simply relieved that someone was finally taking action. Captain Luke Phillips and the Endeavour reached the Devourer fleet 12 hours later. The sight was terrifying and magnificent at the same time. My God, whispered Dr. Foster, look at the size of them. The largest Devourer ships were over 50 kilometers long. They moved through space like living things, their biomechanical hulls shifting and changing as they traveled. Passive scans only, Luke ordered. We don't want to attract attention. For 6 hours, the Endeavour shadowed the fleet, collecting data. Dr. Foster worked frantically to understand the alien technology. I've got it, she finally announced. Their communication network operates on a quantum frequency we've never seen before, but I think I can disrupt it. How? Luke asked. We'd need to get inside one of their ships and plant a virus directly into their central processor. Dr. Foster explained. Luke stared at her. You want to board one of those things? It's the only way, Dr. Foster said. But the virus would need time to spread through their network. We'd have to hold them off for at least an hour. One ship against 3,000? Lieutenant Turner asked. Not one ship, Luke said, reaching for the communications panel. Every ship. Back on Earth. The largest fleet in.